Hi, good morning and welcome down to Devon Koi Pond. Not such a nice day today, down on a Sunday morning. Some good viewing figures last week, quite a few thumbs up for the alarm. Hope a few people like that and take that idea on board and make them. With someone on about linking it to Wi-Fi for the phone. Well, that's quite possible. You easily do that, just buy one of the Wi-Fi doorbells that with the apps that runs on your phone. Can't see why that won't work. All you've got to do is connect up the press button on it and it'll alert you on your phone. Anyhow, this week we've chucked in the Mediclay, which I'll show you in a video in a bit, and we've done the second treatment on the pond, which we'll also catch in a bit. I'll flip in some clips of that. But we're still not at the 2,000 subs. We're a bit short, so if you haven't subscribed yet, get down here, smash this button down here, hit that subscription. When we get to the 2,000, I'll put up some more prizes. Looking forward to that. Very close now. Just need a few more. I know a lot of you watching aren't subscribed. Just get down and click this button. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Thumbs down if you don't like the video. Had some good thumbs up last week for the float switch. Was well excited on that. A lot of people have taken that on board. So down here this week, right, we're at the peak of the feeding season. So I'm now up to about 350 to 360 grams of food in a day, like. So that, I use this, which is about 60 grams with it just a little bit mounded on top. This is what they're actually copping through in a day. They're eating that entire pot full in a day. Incredible what they're munching down. They'll probably go a little bit more. Filters can stand it, so if they'll take a bit more, it's the length of the day feeding them. I like to give it at least 2-3 hours between feedings and give them a chance to digest it down a bit before you chuck a load more in. But the filters will take it, so I'll probably end up piling a bit more in. Right, I'll click you over to the Mediclay clip first. I chucked that in, so we'll have a look at that a second. So here we are over here, third dose of the Mediclay. I'll stick this in and then I'll have a little talk to you about what I think it's doing on the sit down bit over here. It's been using it for 3 weeks now, so we need a little look at if I think there's any improvement or not. So yeah, that's the third dose of the clay in. They've given it, might be the fourth, but I think it's the third. And this is what it does to the water for a few hours. So you lose sight of your fish for 5-6 hours before it clears and you can actually see the bottom, and it takes about 24 hours before it clears out, and I think you can't see it in the water at all. But sort of so far, 3-4 weeks, I can't see any improvement in the clarity of the water. In all fairness, it was pretty good before, but what minerals it's putting back into the water, I don't know what benefits it's having that way, but to me it's having sort of no benefits with the actual clarity of the water, because as I say, it was pretty good before, so I don't think it's doing much for me in that respect. But the minerals in the water, it probably is. Would I buy the product again? I might buy one bag of it and stick in some every now and then. but it's not a thing that I think I'd use weekly. I can't see the need for it. Fish have been fine now for 13, 14 years without it. To all of a sudden start using it now just seems a little bit strange. Mucking the water up like this. But there. It's a product, it was worth a try. So back over to me at another time. So there, that was me putting the Metaclay in earlier in the week. Still on the fence a bit on that. After seeing James's video again the other day, which he filmed just after, which came out just after I did that clip, my water quality was fairly good with not too many fines in it. It's put a bit of a sparkle to the water, but it's more the minerals that it's adding to the water that I'm interested in. It's not made a great difference in my water. You can see it, but whether it's worth it for the money, I don't know. And a day and a bit you lose on these showing on the pond with it being all milky. Well, I don't really know. But I've got the rest of the packet of it to use, so I'll use it up and we'll have another look at that afterwards. Also, if you take a look here, I know a lot of people have got drum filters and that you need to clean the screens on them quite often. Well, the screen on my Answer was getting fair blocked up as well. Even going over with a power washer wouldn't clean it. I've seen people use acid, but we'll nip over to a clip here of what I did to mine. So if you have a look here. Okay, now I haven't ever done this before, but because I got the finer mesh on the screen, I'm going to give it a steam clean because it seems to be tarnishing up a bit, obviously restricting the hose in it a bit. So I've got a steam cleaner out, and if you look on the inside of this, it's got like a nice brown skin to it. I'm going to steam clean it all off and get all the rubbish off of it. I don't know if we built up enough pressure yet, but I'll stick the camera up and we'll have a look. So there, that's made quite a difference to that. Isn't that clean before that? I do normally power wash it off once a fortnight or so, but they're a pain to take on and off. These screens they need to be pulled round, and I actually need the TIG welder to attach them each time, but they start to fold up. This is a 70 micron. Right, catch you in a second. So, as you see there, I hit it with a steam cleaner. Now that really did get the stuff off. You kind of get a furring on the stainless steel mesh. That's a 70 micron, and I reckon it was down to 60, maybe 50. The hose were fair blocked on it. It's flowing a lot better now, but it's been in the water for 3.5 months. So I'm not actually surprised that it's done that, and that was a good way of cleaning it. Now, down to the sick fish, who's right here up on the top at the moment. Back happily feeding. All the marks, 2 scales that were lifted on its side. They're doing battle down here trying to spawn, and they're bashing each other around. This week, that said, I've only seen one morning where they were at it thrashing around, and they're knocking against each other. I've got a couple with larger mirror scales on them, and I found 2 mirror scales in the pond, and they're off the orange ghost I got down there, and that's a male, and he's quite aggressive, and I think they're knocking the scales off on each other. But owing to the damage I had on that kind of 3 fish, rather than take them out, it was just easier to go for the Acriflavin. Now I use this before over the years, if you've got a few fish that have got issues, sometimes rather than catching them all, it's just a lot easier just to go for a broad treatment, treat the entire pond. And it was easier this time. I've done a double dose, one last week and another dose here. I'll whip you over to a clip of that in a minute. Put that in, sends the pond a lovely fluorescent green. Doesn't last very long, that's not like malachite, but you put that in and it kind of disappears within 2 or 3 hours. You have to knock the UV light off, but I knocked that one off. Been off for about 12 hours. I'll probably click it back on again anytime soon now. As soon as the colour disappears, they say you can put it back on. Water's looking really good. Fish are really happy. Not a lot of problems really. We've got a few things that we're going to be doing this week, because it's officially the first week of the school holidays. So I'm actually on holiday for a change. But let's have a quick look a second. Hi, so we're here on the Thursday and I'm about to add some treatment to the pond. Gonna chuck the Acriflavin in, so I'll sort out the mix for that a second. We'll pop that in, and this is to treat the raised scales that, or two scales that have been dug up on the Ogon the other day. They're looking far better, but the fish are knocking themselves around each day, so I'm going to pop a treatment of this in. I'd had to catch sort of 3 fish last weekend, and it was just too much. But I've given 1 dose of this because the Ogon had a bit of Popeye showing on it as well, which the fish seems to suffer from, which seems a bit strange. But it's usually over winter, but it's come back a bit now. So I'm going to put in a bit of treatment for this and that, and it was just easier than taking 3 fish out to treat with this. So let's mix this up a minute and I'll get this in the pond. Ooh. 1 bottle will do about a pond and a half sort of thing, so I need 2 bottles. I'm going to do 2 treatments. 2 bottles will give me 3 treatments. So I pop this. I don't need any stirring, but there's the fish at the back, centre camera. Scales are looking okay on it now, but It's not going to hurt to have another treatment. Water's pretty good after the metaclay in the week. Takes some clearing that back out of the water. Sort of day and a bit, day and a half. But, let's pop this stuff in. See how green it is, fluorescent green, this stuff. Ooh. So you can see that. Put the bubbler back on a minute. Get a good mix on that. Now I found this to be very effective, and if you've got 2 or 3 fish with injuries on, which I did have, they're just bashing themselves around all the time, continually, playing around spawning, and I just couldn't be bothered last week to catch 3 of them and treat them individually. So that was the trick with that. This will work its way around the whole pond now, and it'll all go that nice bright fluorescent greeny tinge. UV off, it says UV off until after the green disappears off the pond, but it actually goes pretty quick. But I've got the UV knocked off here, and I'll have it off for a day. So that's that mixing in. So catch me in a minute on the weekend, and I'll be putting the finishing touches to this video, and we'll find some more stuff to film. But this stuff's pretty effective, and if you don't like catching your fish, it's a good all-round treatment for any bacterial infections, red raised scales through injury and things like that. So, see you in a little bit. Well, as you can see, the water's looking good. No problems here whatsoever. There's the pop-eyed fish, still showing a bit of pop-eye, but all the redness has gone on its side, and the 2 scales that were looking red, they've sorted themselves out, which is fantastic. Just chuck the air on by the skimmer so we don't suck the pellets down. Alright, some of you will have noticed last week when I was showing the float switch that I'd taken the brushes out the bottom of the vortex. Well, I pulled a couple of newts out of the skimmer basket here the other day, down here, and there was one swimming around in here. He was lucky he was on top of the filter, because if I hadn't seen him, it'd have been sucked off down in the waste, chewed up in the pump and pushed out. So I've taken the brushes out, so now I can have a look in there before I drain it down to see if there's anything in there. I've got filter wool on the returns. You can see the kind of dirt that's still pulling out, probably because of the mediclay that was in it the other day. You're not supposed to do any treatments for 2 days, I think it is, after you've done that, and that was 2 days before I put the fluorescent green Acriflavin in. What we got down here, the crest this year is a total washout. It's just not growing, dying, load of rubbish. We're going to have a dive back into this week. I've got time, so I'll be taking the trays out this week. No point really having them, the cress ain't growing. They were put there mainly for the cress, not for the alpha grog that's in them, so I'll be popping the alpha grog over into the veg filter. I'll just stack the trays on top of each other, the pots, we'll stack them on top of each other in the veg filter up there with a couple of air stones around them, just to suck water around them, and they'll do exactly the same job as they are here on the side of the pond. I mean, it's not the prettiest thing on the side of the pond, and if it had had a load of cress growing out of it, I'd have been well happy with it. But the fact that cress isn't growing, that's going to be going. Yeah, there's Popeye. All a bit skittish this morning. They had their breakfast an hour ago, so that's why they're not showing too much interest in the pellets. Of course, other than the chags here. They're always showing interest in everything. Right. So really that's it this week. I've still got that thing down on the bottom of the pond. To those of you that's been annoyed over it, that's still down there. When I got the hoover out at some point, and the coin the other day, that's still over there as well. Got to pull that one out at some point. They still managed to move it around the bottom of the pond. Absolutely shocking what they can lift and move around. Right, so yeah, that'll be it this week. Be taking those trays out, putting it in the bottom of the veg filter there. I've got to have a bit of a thin out with the lilies. They're jamming out the thing here. Tremendous show of lilies this year, and the flower's been amazing. But yeah, we'll be clearing that out. So to those of you that are following intently, that's what we'll be up to. I'm going to get those 2 trays off the wall this week. I know a few of you didn't like it anyway. I liked it as to the fact that we're something to plant the cress in, and the cress ain't growing. Total flop this year. Been having to buy it from Tesco's to eat in the salads. Never had to do that before. Normally I'm chucking it away by the bin bag. But there, can't win them all. So the trays are coming out. I'll pop those planter baskets full of alpha grog in the bottom of the veg filter up there. They can sit in there and probably get 3 high in a stack, and make a little box putting out of them in the water, put an air stone in the middle. So we'll be doing that. We'll catch that on next week's video. So again, to those of you that haven't subscribed yet, want to get into the competitions, hit that subscription button down here. Can't believe the number of people that watch unsubscribed against the number of people that watch subscribed. It's like 60% the people watching aren't subscribed. Well, get down and hit this button. It's not going to hurt you, won't bite you, don't cost you anything. Right, so for this week down here in Devon, I'll be ponding. Take care of your fish, look after the water, feed them as much as you can, because they need it now this time of year. Best time of the year to do it. Should be at their peak now. Your filter should be at its best. We've only got another couple of months, and temperatures will be diving down, and you'll be cutting the amount of food down. So get it down there next now. Watch your water quality low. All right. So from down here in Devon, bye for now, and happy ponding.